This year, I am focused on saving and investing, but I still want to do things like travel. NerdWallet lets you compare top travel credit cards side by side to maximize your spending, some even offering 10 times points on your spending, which means you could end up with a free flight or maybe a better hotel room.
So what could future you do with smarter financial decisions? Compare and find smarter credit cards, savings accounts, and more today at nerdwallet.com. NerdWallet, finance smarter. Reminder, credit is subject to lender approval and terms apply. We're so excited to introduce you to Great Jones. Great Jones makes high-quality, thoughtfully designed cookware that's so stunning you won't want to put it away. They have everything from Dutch ovens to ceramic dishes to non-stick sheet pans. They've got everything you want. I have the Saucy, which is a terrific saucepan. It has curved sides, it has a pouring spout, it has a lid, and it looks so elegant. It's really a pleasure just to look at it on the counter, even before we're using it.
Yes, I love all the colors.
Yeah.
They make stunning gifts that are actually useful. Weddings, housewarming parties, birthdays. It's the perfect gift for the foodie in your life. So upgrade your kitchen and replace those old rusted hand-me-downs with bold, beautiful, long-lasting pieces from Great Jones. Get started today at greatjones.com and get an extra 15% off your first order with promo code HAPPIER. That's greatjones.com, promo code HAPPIER.
Hello and welcome to Happier, a podcast where we talk about how to become happier, healthier, more productive, and more creative. This week, we'll talk about an original and interesting way to tell your autobiography, and we will report back on listeners' suggestions for the veterinarian who is worried about being approached by people about their pets during a time in her life when she's caring for an elderly relative. I'm Gretchen Rubin, a writer who studies happiness, good habits, human nature, the five senses. I'm in my little home office in New York City, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my sister Elizabeth, my sister the Sage.
That's me, Elizabeth Kraft, a TV writer and producer living in LA. And Gretch, today we're getting sage advice from our listeners.
Yes, can't wait to dive in.
Speaking of sage.
Yes. And before we dive in, an update. We're getting ready for the summer, and so we want your summer hacks. Are there resources that you found? Are there products that you found? Are there things that you're crossing off your to-do list now in order to be ready for the summer? Are there plans that you're making? Are there traditions that you're creating or planning to keep? Whatever have you done to make life easier and more fun during the summer, send them our way. We are going to make a big collection for everybody.
I can't wait for those.
Yes.
And then, Gretch, we got this from Joe, who said, I am a longtime listener to Happier. I'm also a pharmacist and recently started working for a small independent pharmacy. Best job ever after almost 40 years of big chain stress. While just clicking buttons and learning the software system, I found a category under our patient information. I said to myself, this looks familiar, and yes, there it is. Tendency. Rebel, obliger, upholder, and questioner. This can be most helpful counseling patients. But I wonder, were you contacted by our software vendor? I hope so. Your podcast has been so helpful in my day-to-day life.
Well, I love hearing this, of course, because the 4 tendencies framework, I want everybody to use it. I love it. I was not contacted by the software vendor, but I love the fact that pharmacists are finding this to be a useful framework in dealing with their patients and customers. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, you can find out if you're an upholder, questioner, obliger, rebel, and you can tell your pharmacist by taking the quiz at GretchenRubin.com/quiz. I got the biggest kick out of that, Elizabeth.
Yes. Well, I know you hear from doctors all the time who use the tendencies.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another note, the paperback of my book, Life in 5 Senses, hits the shelves on April 30th. And you may be thinking of a gift for Mother's Day for a mother in your life, or perhaps you are thinking about something that you might like to receive as a gift. So I offer to you, if you would like to add a personal touch, you can request a free signed book plate. This is for US and Canada only because of mailing costs. And you can request that at happiercast.com/bookplate. And also related to the release of the paperback, I am going to be doing a book event in New York City with journalist Lee Woodruff. And if you are local to the New York City area, you can join me at 7 p.m. at the Upper West Side Barnes & Noble location. If you live further away or you can't make it that night, you can mark your calendar for May 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern, because I'm going to do a virtual book club event that's open to everyone. That's going to be a virtual event about the book for everybody. And I will put links to both events in the show notes. So if you're buying the book as a gift, you might want to put a book plate in the book to make it a more personal gift.
Ooh, I want to go to your virtual book club, Gretch.
Yes.
I'm going to put it in my calendar.
Oh, you're such a good sister. And this week, Alyssa, our try this at home suggestion is to write your autobiography in 24 sensations. Now, we got the 24 from the year, which is 2024. We love to tie things to the number. And because of the paperback of Life in Five Senses, this is a celebration of the senses, and it's a fun way to create your own autobiography.
Yes. So in episode 387, we each did a portrait of each other for a sense, and that was fun. And now we're sort of using all the senses to reflect on our own lives.
Yes, this is a great exercise for self-reflection, for our own history. It gives us a way to go back through our memories. I find it very hard to remember the past, but when I go searching for these very specific sense memories, all sorts of stuff comes up. And so it's a way to get a sense of ourselves and our own history. And this is kind of a very specific and I would say manageable way to tackle that.
Yeah, it reminds me of the 6-word memoir. It's kind of a skeletal way to summarize your life that is fun.
Yeah. Now, and there, of course, there's no one way to approach this. I mean, there's some obvious ways, but I'm sure listeners will come up with all kinds of imaginative ways that they might approach this. So for like me, I want to do all 5. So I did 4 or 5 of each sense: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, because I wanted to be sort of comprehensive and evenly balanced. But you don't have to do it that way.
No, Gretch, I just did it any way I felt like. Just whatever those sensations were as I moved through my life, that's what I used. So I did not pay attention to balancing out. And Gretchen, this is a try this at home that could also be a, quote, right way segment for Write 24 and 24. Because we're writing 2 to 4 minutes or 24 minutes a day. And this is definitely a way you could use that time.
Yeah.
Plus, fun with the 5 senses in honor, as you said, of your paperback publication.
Yeah, we're always trying to think of, when we come up with an idea, what is the segment for it? It's like, this could be any segment.
Yes.
So it's right in our wheelhouse. Also, I'm always thinking about everyday creativity. I think that people sometimes are like, well, I'm not creative. But we're all being creative, whether it's writing a toast for a wedding or writing a newsletter for the holidays or
coming up with a t-shirt.
Yes, we were just talking about that. And so this is a great way to exercise everyday creativity. I can imagine that people might decorate it. It's a great keepsake, a self-reflection keepsake. I mean, I remember I did another version of this. My editor, for Life in Five Senses, my editor said, well, in addition to the standard author bio, you should do a Five Senses author bio. So that was really fun. And I felt like that was a great exercise. And I printed that out and kept that in my memento journal. But this one is sort of more focused on the autobiography and the memories and going back over our lives. So it's a really great exercise in everyday creativity that I think is thought-provoking, but also manageable, both in like skill level required and time required.
Yes.
Both of which we all have to come with different levels of those.
All right, Gretchen, should we share our autobiographies and 24 sensations?
Yeah, so Elizabeth, you go first. What are your 24?
Here we go, Gretch. Drawing with broken bamboo on the outside walls of our house. We had bamboo growing, and I used to do that all the time. Gross puke green carpet replaced with plush pretty green carpet in our new house on Stratford.
Yes.
Winstead's hamburger and the skyscraper song.
Okay, so that's taste plus hearing.
Yes, and that was the song they sang when they delivered this huge sundae at Winstead's, and they still do.
Yes.
The floor of Mrs. Funk's kindergarten room at St. Paul's. I remember getting my little shape of where I was supposed to sit on the floor.
Aww.
The taste of a Shirley Temple at the Hyatt after the father-daughter dinner. I remember my first Shirley Temple was at the Hyatt. The smell of the flume water at Worlds of Fun.
Oh, yes.
Very specific. Laughing with Mindy when I met her for the first time at a birthday party in 7th grade.
Aww.
Red nails. I used to paint my nails red daily.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Elizabeth has amazing nails.
The feel of an X-Acto knife doing paste up for The Voice. That was our school newspaper. Sarah and I did that. Lucille's, which was a place where I worked, Lucille's 50s music playing during my graveyard shift as the soda jerk. Dining hall chocolate cake. When I went to Columbia, I ate dining hall chocolate cake pretty much every day. Cottage wine. That is, Gretchen, there was a Chinese place called The Cottage in college that had free wine, which we college students loved. The sight of the duplex from my apartment window on Sheridan Square. El Nino. When Sarah and I moved to LA, it was El Nino. So there was rain, rain, rain. Palm trees swaying in the wind. One of my favorite sights. The smell of catering on set, the feel of a director's chair under my butt, not the most comfortable chairs, Adam's hug, love hugging Adam, rain on our wedding day, to speak to Alanis Morissette, a foot massage I got while trying to induce labor for Jack. I wanted to go into labor. The feel and smell of Jack as a baby, along with the restaurant din white noise we used when he was a baby. You'd walk into his room in the middle of the night and it would sound like you were at a busy restaurant because that was the sound he liked to sleep to. Very eerie sound. The whir of my treadmill desk.
Of course.
Best gift you ever gave me. The sight of Nacho and Daisy trotting around.
Aw.
And then finally, the sound of my own voice yelling Jack's name so that he could hear it over his headphones.
Oh, that's so fun.
That's where I am today.
See, and this gives such a picture of you. And I mean, for me, this is particularly meaningful because so many of your memories are my memories. I remember many of those. The smell of the flume water at Worlds of Fun. I know that heavy chlorine smell.
Yes.
But this is so great. I love that.
Yeah, it was really fun to do.
Really fun to do.
All right, Gretch, let's hear your autobiography.
Okay, so as I said, I broke mine out. So for me, seeing was one of my first memories was being in a swimming pool and thinking that there was a goldfish swimming in front of me, but it was actually my long red hair flickering out of the corner of my eye. So that's one of my first memories. The forsythia bushes outside our house on Stratford Road. This old-fashioned library room called the L&B room that I used to study in all the time in college. I had a very particular old library look. The sight of dog toys strewn across the floor. And Jamie's new glasses that I'm still getting used to. Like, new glasses. For hearing. Do you remember we had that funny doorbell on 70th Street that played this whole little song? So I remember that.
No, I was little. I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were probably too little. Dad singing Light a Rose from the Music Man in the shower, which he did for many, many years.
Yes.
The sound of the audiobook of Harry Potter playing in the background for years. Jamie yelling hello from the front elevator because he always just yells out. And the mysteriously awful beeping of our dishwasher, which I cannot figure out how to turn off. But it seems like no one can figure out how to turn off this beeping. So anyway, it's something that I notice often. But now I'll have a fondness for it because I'll be like, well, this is part of this season of life, is this beeping of our dishwasher. That smell of the old school paste that people used to use when they were really little. It had a very particular smell. My orthodontist, there was such a strong, not a bad smell, not a good smell, just a very particular smell of the hallway leading to my orthodontist's office. And I'm very toothy. I had many, many years of orthodontist. And so I actually went by there recently just to walk down the hallway to smell it. Johnson's baby lotion, which is a smell that I love. The smell of my in-laws' kitchen is a smell I love. And then the smell of Barnaby's dog food, which I'm always worried, does our whole house smell like dog food? So that dry, dusty smell. Taste, hot dogs on the grill in North Platte. Elizabeth, you probably remember those too. Diet Coke. I drink so much Diet Coke. Feta cheese on a Greek salad from Yorkside Pizza in New Haven which both as an undergraduate and as a law student was always a big treat, best feta cheese in the world. And then a chaffle. That's my thing now, egg and cheese waffle. I eat one practically every day, so that's a taste for today. But Elizabeth, I wondered if you would put apple juice on your list, because when you were little, you loved, loved, loved apple juice. So I always think of you whenever I see apple juice.
Yes. You know what, Gretchen? Now I can't stand apple juice. I think I just had way too much as a kid. Apple juice, and you'll remember pickle juice.
Oh, I remember the pickle juice for sure. Yes. Touch. Okay. Again, I was trying to think of my earliest memories. One of my earliest, sometimes you get sun bumps on your hand. I don't know if you ever get these, Elizabeth, but you can have kind of a sun reaction where you get bumps on the back of your hands. And I remember Mom wanted me to hold her hand, but I was like, I didn't like those bumps, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings by recoiling from that. So I remember that very distinctly. I remember your blankie, Elizabeth, which has a very particular feel and weight and texture.
Yes.
The stickiness of sap. There was a tree that I loved to climb in our front yard, and it would always leave my hands very sticky. And the cool stone of the walls of the stairway going to the library at Yale, the law library, because I would always put my hand against that wall. And then for today, it's my favorite giant mug. I love a giant mug, and I have a favorite mug that I will go far out of my way to use. And I love the heft of it. It's just perfect.
Gretchen, I love these. I love this exercise. This is one for the ages. We may have to make a thing out of this.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'm going to print yours out. I'm going to print mine out and keep them. And then maybe we'll do it as a family exercise for the next time we're all together in Kansas City.
That would be fun.
Yeah, you feel like you could do it over and over again and surface new memories and new associations.
Absolutely.
Well, let us know if you do try this at home and how writing your autobiography in 24 sensation works for you. How did you approach it? What did you do with it? We are very interested to know. Let us know on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. Drop us an email at podcast@GretchenRubin.com, or as always, you can go to the show notes. This is happiercast.com/479 for everything related to this episode.
Coming up, we've got a happiness hack related to National Card and Letter Writing Month. But first, this break.
There are some stories from our mother's life that I love to hear about. I love hearing about how she played with a tin dollhouse when she was a girl. And just in time for Mother's Day, I found the perfect gift that captures all her stories for our families forever. It's called Storyworth. Storyworth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your mother and mother figures for years to come. And it makes a wonderful keepsake book so you never, never lose these wonderful stories and memories.
Here's how it works. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved one a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick, like what was your favorite toy as a little girl, or what was your first job? All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. Long or short, it doesn't matter. Give all the moms in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years. Storyworth. Right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/happier. That's storyworth.com/happier to save $10 on your first purchase.
Okay, here's a hack that is connected to National Card and Letter Writing Month. It's also, you could use hashtag Write24 and 24. It's a great way to support people through writing.
This comes from Emily. She said, I wanted to share a hack for getting people to spread the happiness of writing cards. Last year, my 33-year-old sister, Tracy, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent chemotherapy, radiation, and had a double mastectomy. Her family and friends are spread over multiple states. My mom and I decided to throw my sister a card shower, meaning we told lots of people to send Tracy a card to boost her spirits. We told one of my sister's high school friends about the card shower, and that high school friend told all of that friend group. We told one of Tracy's coworkers about the card shower, and that coworker told the rest of the coworkers, etc. We told people to send the cards around the same time, so her mailbox was bombarded with happy mail. She received over 90 encouragement cards the week of her double mastectomy. She hung the cards around her house so she could continue to be encouraged and feel the love. She said later that she loved going to the mailbox and feeling so much love at such a difficult time in her life. Just wanted to share this card shower hack in case others are trying to spread the joy of writing cards. Also, if you could, please give a shout of congrats to my little sister Tracy for completing chemo. Tracy, congratulations.
Tracy, congratulations. And I think this is a great idea. And I've never heard of doing it just this way. I've been asked to submit a video for people who are stitching together a video for sort of a milestone celebration, or like to submit something that then was compiled. But I like that here there's a freedom where who knows exactly when it's going to arrive. Everybody would do it in their own way. I think this just sounds like such a great idea.
Yeah, and I love the phrase card shower.
Yes.
As soon as you say it, you get it.
Yes.
It's easy to communicate what it is.
Yes.
You just send the address.
Yes.
And it's easy for people to do and really great for the recipient.
Yeah, you're just showering them with love and encouragement. So this is a great idea. And I have to mention, if you are into these letter writing and card writing prompts, I'm doing these prompts in April. And if you want to sign up for those, you can go to happiercast.com/papersource. And you can also get a 10% discount at papersource.com for April. I'm loving all the different ways that people are tapping into card writing and letter writing to just connect with other people and with themselves. It's so fun.
So fun.
And now for listener answers. Okay, so in episode 476, a listener asked a question, and boy, have we received answers.
Yeah, so the question was about a listener who's moving in to help care for an elderly relative. And if she truthfully tells her new neighbors that she's a small animal vet, she knows she's going to be inundated with questions and unexpected visits, which will also be very distracting and upsetting for her relative. And she knows this will happen because it's happened many, many times in the past.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to lie about her profession, but she also doesn't want to disclose it. So she was saying, how do I answer when people ask what I do? And we got lots of response. This first one comes from Kathleen, who says, I have a suggestion for the vet who wants to deflect attention away from her work. She can say to new people she is meeting, my current work is being a caretaker / the primary caretaker for a family member. If they press her on what she did before that, she could say, before I took on this new responsibility, I worked with animals, or I have a background in animals, but that is not my primary focus now. Also, I have seen signs by doorbells that say something like, do not ring bell or knock, sleeping baby in the house. I'm sure she could come up with something similar for her relative's door. Please do not ring or knock so as not to disturb occupants. She may feel this seems unfriendly, but if ringing or knocking disturbs her relative, for example, if the relative has dementia or a mental illness, it is necessary to be firm but polite since the relative is her first priority.
Good practical suggestions. Evelyn says, my husband is a doctor and I am a nurse, so I feel the pain of the person who wrote this question. Everyone knows what we do, so we get the questions a lot. Sometimes pointing out the legal trouble we could theoretically get into by giving advice without all the information needed or in a public place does the trick. This especially works well when it's questions over text or social media. Everybody understands that the potential for getting sued makes you want to be careful and protect yourself. Perhaps the listener could say, I cannot discuss my work outside of the office for legal reasons. It does create a little mystery, but would still make sense if ever it got out that they are a vet. Good point.
Yes. If they know you're a vet and they ask a question, you can say, I can't answer for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Rachel says, I am a hospital pharmacist, so I also get random questions from family and friends all the time. When people ask the vet what she does for a living, she should say, I'm a veterinarian, but I only see patients in my clinic. Or, I'm a vet, but I don't see animals outside my clinic. This may not stop everyone from bothering her, but this disclaimer should at least put the bug in people's ear right away. Also, if someone does come to her door unsolicited outside the clinic, then she can help them, but tell them, next time I will not be able to do this outside the clinic. If someone calls unsolicited, then she should tell them they need to call their vet clinic. Most clinics should have someone on call when the clinic is closed.
Good points. Tracy suggests the vet surgeon could tell people, I work to supply a local veterinarian, or I'm in veterinary supplies. The supply they happen to be providing is surgery, so they did not lie. But they did not tell a fact that would invite the seeking of advice or the dropping off of injured animals at their home, as the new acquaintance thinks they supply the products needed to run the office. So this is something that's focusing on this question of not wanting to lie, but not wanting to tell the truth. It's like, is there a way that you can kind of say something that points people in another direction? Interesting.
Yes. Arabella says, I'm a doctor and have had similar experiences to your listener. Here are some thoughts. Introducing herself to new people is a good opportunity to set boundaries without having to potentially insult people who have overstepped them with her before. I would answer the "what is your job" question by putting the relative she is caring for first. Saying something like, "My current priority is my relative who I'm carer for, but I work part-time or used to work more as a vet." Then I would say something like, "I have decreased my hours and am considering stopping this job because people where I used to live found it hard to respect that when I was not at work, I was not on call, and used to even do such things as turn up at my house uninvited with animals who should have been taken to the vet. Obviously, this cannot happen when I'm caring for an elderly relative who would find this upsetting. I have taken advice from other doctors who suggest quite a hardline rebuff when approached by people with questions, and they have advised me to answer, 'If you are worried enough to ask me, then you should see a doctor.' This would work for questions and unsolicited visits by saying, 'If that were my animal, I would take them to a vet.' Initially, I thought this was rude, but actually it's not, and it's worked very well for me."
Interesting. Jamie writes, her question made me want to know so much more. I'm so curious where she lives that people impose all their animal-related problems on her and that they come to her house in the middle of the night. I'm picturing a village in the UK with 100 people. I live in a big city in Canada, and I don't know if it's the size of our city or our Canadianness, but I can't imagine this scenario happening. Who would have the nerve to do this? Which brings me to my suggestion. My suggestion when people ask what she does for a living is that she answers truthfully and then adds on, "I'm always afraid to tell people about my career because in the past, acquaintances have forgotten I'm a person and only talk to me about their pets. Some people have even come to my house in the middle of the night with their pets instead of going to the animal hospital," with a shocked look on her face like, "Can you imagine?" So this is sort of related to the earlier response, but it's just saying, like, modeling kind of, this is just completely unacceptable behavior.
Yes, I think that's really smart. And finally, Erica says, "I'm an attorney, so I'm often in similar situations. I've learned that most folks who ask me questions while concerned for themselves or a family member are either shopping for free advice or just want to be pointed in the right direction. When I think of it this way, rather than burdening myself with finding an answer for them, I direct them to a qualified attorney. If they're willing to pay for the legal work, they know the person I recommend has been vetted. The vet tech could also provide a list of qualified veterinarians to anyone who asks for assistance. That way, not only could they freely disclose their profession, but also help local veterinarians with referrals."
Well, that's very constructive.
Yes, so many good ideas.
So many good ideas, but I think this is a good reminder to all of us because there are many people in many professions who kind of suffer a different version of this conundrum. And so I think all of us need to remember that, oh, I just have a question that will take 1 minute for you to answer, or I'm sure you wouldn't mind helping me out with this problem, that we should just be very careful to let people be off the clock when they're off the clock and not constantly be hitting them up for what they know, because it's tiresome.
Yes, as someone who has a good friend who's a doctor, I can confess to being guilty.
Yes.
All right, Gretch, coming up, we have demerits and gold stars, but first, this break. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive.
I know that when I've been hiring, it's really hard to do. It's really hard to find quality candidates. It's really hard to handle the process. Hiring is easy when you have lots of quality candidates, like with LinkedIn Jobs. It's so easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Gretchen. That's linkedin.com/Gretchen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It can be easy to ignore our social battery and spread ourselves thin, especially with social gatherings picking up after the winter. Gretchen, I love to socialize, but I need to do it in a way that's good for me,
Right.
that doesn't drain my battery. And therapy can really help figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, so that you're not just spending out too much of your social energy.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with the licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Gretchen Rubin today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Gretchen Rubin.
I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for ways for my son to get involved and give back in our local community. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Student Visionaries of the Year, a campaign by Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the largest nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a world without blood cancers.
Student Visionaries of the Year is a 7-week philanthropic leadership development program for high school students. Participants form strong teams and fundraise in honor of a pediatric blood cancer survivor in their local community. This program is transformative. It not only helps students develop valuable life skills like project management, communication, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship, not to mention it looks great on college applications, but most importantly, is also a chance for them to engage in meaningful work within their community and make a real impact on blood cancer patients and their families. You can learn more about Student Visionaries of the Year or even nominate a student at lls.org/students. That's lls.org/students.
Okay, Gretch, we're back with demerits and gold stars, and this week you are up with a happiness demerit.
Well, this is kind of a counterintuitive demerit because I think a lot of people would think that this shouldn't be a demerit. Okay, so I think a lot of people think that you should not mark up books that you own. I'm not talking about library books. You shouldn't mark up a book that you own, but I do mark up books that I own when I take notes in them. And the demerit that I'm giving myself is that I haven't been marking them up enough or permanently enough, because I often find that I want to go back and look up something, and I'm almost always looking up something that caught my attention the first time. And if I've marked up a book heavily, then it's much quicker for me to find what I'm looking for. But in a book where I've done that very lightly, or I used to do a thing where I would like erase pencil marks, or I would undog dog ears on the pages, that actually later, that's worse. So my demerit is not marking up books enough. And now I'm just going to really, any mark that I make, I'm going to really keep, because I know that it's kind of wayfinding for me in future years when, for reasons that I can't even foresee now, I'm going back to the journals of Jules Renard. And I'm like, well, where is that quotation?
It's like a treasure map.
Yes, it's a treasure map. That's exactly right. Why would you erase your treasure map? I need to keep it there. That will be a very easy demerit to learn from, Elizabeth. So unlike some of them, which are more demanding, but what's your gold star?
Well, Gretch, I want to give a gold star to all of the listeners who have emailed me or commented in our Happier in Hollywood Facebook group about Orange Theory.
Oh, yes.
The new exercise thing I'm doing. So many people have gotten in touch to encourage me, to give me tips about doing Orange Theory, to talk about how much they love Orange Theory. So thank you, everybody. It is encouraging me. I have been going.
Yes.
I'm dedicated to my 50 times in 2024. So I'll be reporting back, of course, on Orange Theory. But thank you, everybody.
The journey is underway and everyone is cheering you on. Okay, excellent. The resource for this week. Okay. If you are part of a book club that is reading Life in Five Senses or has previously read Life in Five Senses, you could win a virtual drop-by from me to discuss the book and answer your questions. I have never done this before. I'm very excited to give this a try. The paperback comes out on April 30th, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of book clubs really do mostly read paperbacks. I will pick 10 book clubs. I will announce the winners on May 3rd. And if you want to enter, go to happiercast.com/book club, one word. And I'm so excited. Elizabeth, both of us, we love book clubs. I love dropping by some book clubs of people that I don't even know. That will be super fun. And speaking of a book club and reading, Elizabeth, what are you reading?
I am reading The Marriage Sabbatical by Leon Dolan.
Oh, Leon Dolan. And I am reading The Story of Charlotte's Web, E.B. White's Eccentric Life in Nature and the Birth of an American Classic by Michael Sims. And that's it for this episode of Happier. Remember to try this at home. Write your autobiography in 24 sensations. Let us know if you tried it and if it worked for you.
Thank you to our executive producer, Chuck Reed, and everyone at Odyssey. Get in touch. Gretchen's on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok at Gretchen Rubin. And I'm on Instagram and Threads at Liz Craft. Our email address is podcast@GretchenRubin.com.
You've heard me say it before, but if you've never done it, please do it. Please rate us, review us, follow us, or the best of all, recommend us to a friend. That is how most people discover our show.
Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Craft.
And I'm Gretchen Rubin. Thanks for joining us. Onward and upward. So, Elizabeth, with Orange Theory, are you feeling like 50 is a realistic number? I mean, that's a high number. What do you think?
I think it's doable. I mean, provided I don't end up leaving town for 2 months or something.
Yes, right.
But twice a week, I think, is a very good, solid goal. As long as I don't get too sore or injured or something, I think I'm good.
It's exciting.
I'm determined.
You're going to do it. From the Onward Project.
Gretch, I know from my own experience that baby making is not always simple. There is a lack of knowledge surrounding how to get pregnant. And when you want to conceive, there can be a lack of understanding and resources. Frida Fertility is the only one-stop shop that makes it easier to make a baby with a set of solutions for everything from reproductive health to ovulation tracking to conception aid.
Frida is simplifying the journey to parenthood with products that help you go from trying to making a baby. Frida products are innovative, easy to use, and accessible, from ovulation prediction to at-home insemination kits. This is baby making simplified. Find Frida Fertility on Amazon, at Target, and select CVS stores near you. That's Frida Fertility, Frida, Frida Fertility.